All right, we got this old Pontiac G6 back over here. It's a 2008 Pontiac G6 with a 3.5 liter V6 in it. And as the title indicated, I'm going to show you how to change the alternator today. Pretty easy job, pretty common repair. I will put a link up in this corner for a new replacement part on Amazon. If you have time and you'd like to order that, that would really help us out. But here we go. We're going to start off, we're going to pull that oil cap out, and we are going to remove this little plastic cover here, which honestly actually looks like we got to remove this whole little doodad or majagger. So I'll put this cap back in, and then I'll squeeze lower down here and twist that to the left. Bam. So that comes out. Make sure you check the O-ring on it. That one looks decent enough, I guess. And then boom, that's off. Okay, let's see what we got here. Looks like it's trapped a little bit with some power steering lines, but we should be able to come out the backside and be good. So first things first, once you have your cover off, we're going to put our oil cappy thingy back in, the filler neck, and now we're going to disconnect the battery. That is a 10mm, so I'm gonna go grab a 10 mil. We'll get that loose, pull the negative cable, and then we'll get to taking this puppy off. That battery is off and disconnected. So now we need to figure out where the belt tensioner is on this thing, and it is down there. That one with the arm going across, I'll put a circle in the video here, is your belt tensioner. It has a 3/8 square on the front of it, so let me go get a nice long ratchet and we will get this belt loose. All right, so you're gonna wanna make sure your ratchet's in tighten. I got this nice long 3/8 ratchet I got down there. I use this long extension too because my hands are big and the engine's hot. So I just slid it down in there and use that to pop it in, get it clicked in good. This is a good time to take a look at the condition of your Serpentine belt. Maybe you need to replace that. In this case, we're not replacing it. So what I'm gonna do is loosen that. I have a zip tie here. So once I pop this belt off, I'm gonna zip tie it to this motor mount, or it's not a motor mount, but the pulling tab, and hold it taut so that way I don't lose its position and the rest of the things. I really do not feel like laying down and trying to fight that back into position today. So we're going to keep it nice and taut, and just move it over here and keep it tight, and then we can get our alternator off. There you have it. It went as smooth as I had planned. That never happens. All right, so now we're down to the alternator. Oh no. Okay, no, we're good. I thought I blocked the bolt. All right, so you'll see we have one mounting bolt here. I don't see the other one on this side, which means it's probably on the back of the lower bolt. But first, we gotta get this. Ow, that engine's hot, man. All right, we gotta get this unplugged. So we got our, that's unplugged. Let's get our charge wire off. Owie. I do not recommend doing this hot. This is foolish. So we're gonna get this nut off. It looks like a half. So we'll get this off and get this charge wire off, and we'll push our wires back here out of the way. Then we'll be ready to make this puppy loosey-goosey. All right, so I got our wires loose, and what I have noticed is while I've been all up in this particular car before, I've never been over on this end. And whoever was here last, you see these power steering lines? And you see how this one's touching the alternator? That's real bad. That little bracket right there is supposed to hold the lines. They need to be on the engine side of that into those clips. So we'll make sure we get that fixed while we get this pulled. But if you look, I don't know how well you can see, or if you can see. Hold on. Ow, that's hot, man. Okay, owie. Owie, 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 owie. Okay, so we got our bolt here. And then I'm gonna move this camera down here, and hopefully you can see there is at least one, but I think two bolts that go in that direction into the engine. It'll be the same size as this one though, and this looks like about a 15. So I'm gonna work on this first, get those two out, then we'll get this one out, and then we'll carefully pop this alternator out and try and keep it away from the power steering lines. All right, quick warm up. I walked around to the passenger side to get a better view. There is two bolts. This one's got a stud on it. Let me get this out of the way. And you can see the little line holder I was telling you about. It has a 10 mil nut holding it onto that stud. So we take that 10 mil off, take the line holder off, and then we can access the 15 bolt underneath it. All right, so I got both of the bolts that go in the back out. Here's the one with the stud on it. There is the other side. They are 15mm heads. So I will say, make sure when you take off the 10mm nut and the line holder, you should have your lines in this bracket, unlike mine. So you need to pop those off first. When you take this 10mm out, make sure you do not drop it. It would probably be not fun trying to fetch it out from the bottom down there. And then carefully remove that and then slide this off the stud as well. So we are good there. We have all the wires disconnected, both bolts out of the back. So we are one bolt away, which is this 15mm on the front here. So I will take this out and then we will be ready to work out this alternator. All right, so when you pull this bolt out, I had to get a ratchet wrench out. So you're gonna need a wrench for sure. I couldn't fit a ratchet assembly in here. It's a little tight coming out against this AC line, so you just kind of gotta flex it just a smidgen to get that thing to pop out. So that way you don't gotta do anything crazy with this AC line. But that is all the bolts and everything holding this puppy on and secure to it. So now we are ready to pop this alternator out. I'm going to try and work this arm out, up and this away a little bit, and then pull it out this direction. Shouldn't be too hard, but I'm gonna set this camera over here. Hopefully it can maybe catch some of this, maybe not. We shall see, huh? Oh God, it is so hot. Oh, that's foolish. Owie. All right, well, it's that easy. Burnt my hand pretty good, I think, but it is that simple getting her out. So now to get it back in, we got the new one over here. I will place it back in and I will put this bolt in basically in the inverse order. We'll go this bolt through, put the back ones on, and we'll make sure we get our nut and bracket on with the lines in the correct place this time, and then get our belt back on. All right, here we are. I'm getting ready to put the cover back on and close the hood on this guy, but I just want to point out a couple of things. So if this seems cut weird, that's because I wrapped it up earlier with the alternator off, but there's a few things I want to point out. So whenever you put your belt back on, if you did the trick that I did, make sure that you look down the belt, because mine actually slid just a smidgen on this pulley down here, so I had to pull it back so it wouldn't rub on the engine. It'll straighten out on those pulleys after you run it for a second, but it was contacting the engine, so that's not good. So I had to make sure I got it away from that. Back here, this is super important. No matter what the condition of yours is or not, make sure you get this rubber cap back on the stud. If you don't have one, get one, because it's so close to these power steering lines, it will arc. You need that rubber boot right there. But otherwise, this is how your line should look down on the thing. I just ran that plug up however I felt was the best. So here we are, it's all installed and ready to go. So if the video helped you out, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you want to see more. Got lots of projects coming up, like this Ford Escape we're rebuilding, and that Apache out there, and all kinds of other goofy stuff.